The Bible encourages us to save. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends whatever he gets." God commends the ant for saving. Proverbs 30:24-25 says, "Four things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer." We need to think like ants. Even though they're small, they save. Like the ant, you may not be able to save a lot now, but begin the habit. Joseph was a saver. In Genesis 41, we're told he saved during the 7 years of great abundance in order to ensure that there would be enough food during the 7 years of famine. I call saving the Joseph principle, because saving simply means not spending today so you'll have something to spend in the future. This is why many people don't save. It requires a denial of something you want today, and we don't live in a culture that practices denial. When we want something, we want it right now. The best ways to save are to make it a priority and make it automatic. So when you receive income, the first thing you should do is give to the Lord. And the second thing is to make a deposit into your savings. If you save a portion of your income as soon as you receive it, you'll save more. It's even better to make your savings automatic through an employee withholding plan or through your bank's savings plan. Now, the Bible doesn't teach an amount or percentage of your income to be saved, but we recommend establishing a goal of saving at least 10% of your income. Let's take a look at the Compass Money Map to see just how important saving is for you to make progress on your journey to true financial freedom. At Destination 1, you save $1,000 for emergencies. At Destination 2, you increase your emergency savings to 1 month's income. And at Destination 3, increase your savings to 3 months' income. The reason we focus on accumulating emergency savings is simple. Emergencies happen, and if you don't have savings, you have to go into debt and pay for the emergency, which can be very discouraging. Then at Destination 4, you begin to focus on saving for large purchases, to buy your home, to replace your car, to help fund your children's education, or to begin a business. Saving regularly will help you fund many of the things most important to you.
People place some of their savings in investments with the expectation of receiving income or a growth in value. Now, we're not going to recommend any investments. Rather, we want to focus on helping you learn the biblical framework for investing. First, become a steady plotter. Proverbs 21:5 tells us, steady plodding brings prosperity, hasty speculation brings poverty. And the original Hebrew words for steady plodding, picture a person filling a large barrel, one handful at a time, till it's filled. Now, the key to becoming a successful investor is to spend less than you earn and consistently save and invest the difference over a long period of time. That's steady plodding. And almost all investments are very well suited for steady plodding. Your home mortgage can be paid off after years of payments. A stock portfolio grows as it's added to each month. A business increases in value through the years as its potential is developed. The second principle is compounding. I love what Albert Einstein once said. Compounding is the greatest mathematical discovery of all time, not E equals MC squared. Compounding occurs when the earnings your investments produce are added to the principal, allowing both the earnings and the principal to grow exponentially. And there are 3 variables in compounding: the amount you save, the interest rate you earn on your investments, and the length of time you invest. Now, the amount you save depends on your income and your spending. And it's our hope that you'll be able to increase the amount for investing as you learn God's way of handling money. The second variable is the rate of interest you earn on an investment. And the increase in the interest rate has just a huge impact. Listen to this. Just a 2% increase almost doubles the amount you accumulate over 40 years. But since higher returns usually mean higher risks, be very careful not to invest in things that are simply too risky. Time is the third factor in compounding. Let me give you an example. If you save $2.75 a day, that adds up to about $1,000 a year. If you earn 10% a year, at the end of 40 years, guess what? Your investments will grow to more than $485,000. You'll be earning more than $4,000 a month. Over 40 years, you invested a total of $40,000, and now it's producing almost $50,000 a year. That's the beauty of compounding. The next principle is to diversify. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 2 reads, "Divide your portion to 7 or even 8, for you do not know what misfortune may occur upon the earth." I mean, think about it. There is no investment without risk. So we should diversify and not put all of our investment eggs in just one basket. Money can be lost on any investment. Next, avoid risky investments. Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes 5 verse 13, "There's another serious problem I have seen everywhere. Savings are put into risky investments that turn sour, and soon there's nothing left to pass on to one's son. The man who speculates is soon back to where he began, with nothing." Unfortunately, every year, many people lose money in those highly speculative investments, and some of those investments even turn out to be fraudulent.
Government-sponsored lotteries and all types of gambling are sweeping our nation. A study discovered that people spend more on gambling than they do on groceries. Sadly, there are millions of compulsive gamblers, many of whom are teenagers, who squander their income. Their stories and the impact of their gambling on their families are heartbreaking. The Bible doesn't specifically prohibit gambling. However, the attempt to get rich quick violates Scripture. I believe we should make a commitment never to bet even one penny, even for entertainment. We shouldn't expose ourselves to the risk of becoming a compulsive gambler, nor should we support an industry that enslaves so many. Now, let's look at something that's really important to understand. From God's point of view, it's permissible to save and invest only when we're also giving. In Luke 12, Jesus told a parable that illustrates the danger of saving while not giving. It says, "The land of a certain rich man was very productive, and he began reasoning to himself, saying, 'What shall I do, since I have no place to store my crops?' And he said, 'This is what I will do. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grains and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have many goods laid up for many years to come. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool! This very night your soul is required of you, and now who will own what you have prepared?' So is the man who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." The key word in this parable is all. Jesus called the rich man a fool because he saved all of his goods. He didn't balance his saving by giving generously. It is legitimate to save and invest only when we are also giving to the Lord. Why? Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. For our heart to be focused on Christ and not on our savings, we must give consistently to the Lord. In fact, we believe we should balance our savings with our giving by giving at least as much as we are saving and investing. Because just like the earth has more gravitational pull than the moon, if I put more in savings, my heart is going to gravitate toward it rather than to Christ.
We both came from different backgrounds, as far as your background and my background on how we saw money handled within our families. And so rather than being on her page and on my page, our foundation is being on God's page, and we know that's a good page to be on.
One of our financial struggles that we've been through was Kyle had just resigned from a job, and I was working as a nanny, and we had 2 cars, and he actually got in a car accident the day after he resigned, and so we were down to 1 car, and we weren't going to buy another car because we didn't have the means or the income to do that, and I had a bike. And so I would ride my bike to work when I had to as a nanny, and Kyle actually was hired by that family as well to help spread pea gravel And it was a very labor-intensive job, and it was a very humbling 6 months. I mean, we went 6 months without the car and me riding my bike, and it was nice to get in a little better shape, but it was tough having to work through our schedules together and talk a lot about, well, what do you have to do today, and what do you have to do today, and in a lot of ways I think God used that time to bring us closer to each other and to Him, but it wasn't always comfortable.
Yeah, it was a challenging time. We had $2,000 in our savings account when I resigned from my previous ministry position, and when I got hired 6 months later, we still had $2,000 in our savings account when I started. And so to see the Lord provide through all that and not taking a salary during those 6 months, it was a really special time.
When we first started talking about a budget, I came at it a little bit more from a negative standpoint until we actually started implementing our budget. Lifestyle changes that we made were hard for me in the sense of not being able to go shopping whenever I wanted to, or going out to eat less often than what we might have liked. We did a lot of activities that maybe didn't cost a lot of money. We love to go to the beach, so just laying in the sun is definitely a cheap, fun thing to do. And just getting creative in ways that we would spend time together.
Well, one of the real benefits of getting our house paid off, for starters, we had a plan of paying it off in 5 years, which was pretty ambitious. And the Lord provided that in 4 years and 2 months. And we were just blown away by His provision. A friend approached us and we were celebrating, and he said to us, "That is fantastic. Now you can buy a nice car." And I just thought to myself, that was not the purpose. And so came back home after that conversation, and Danielle and I were talking, and we decided that we would come up with a vision/mission statement for how we were going to live, and that was to strive for simplicity so that others may experience eternity. And so we keep that on the forefront of any purchase we make. That helps guide us.
When we became totally debt-free, we didn't change much about our budget. The thing that we were able to do is be a little more generous when the opportunities arose.
Right. And making those once and for all decisions of paying cash for cars and buying used cars and not living beyond our means as a way of just not positioning ourselves to get caught up in what the culture says, but to get more caught up in what God says.